Now, to get a Canada study visa or a study permit, as the case may be, there are very important things you must have to prove. And one very important thing is the proof of funds. Another very important thing you have to do is your statement of purpose. So I'm going to show you and walk you through what you need to include in your proof of funds and different ways you can show proof of funds. For a start, to show that you're eligible or to show that you can support yourself in Canada, ROCC require that you show proof of funds for a minimum of 1 year. That is what is stated on their website. But from what I have seen and from what I've come to notice in the different applications I've done, it is better when you can show that you have funds that will cover for the whole of your academic journey. However, all fingers are not equal. If you can't show that, then you must be ready to prove that who is sponsoring you has a reliable source of income that can successfully pay for your second year and your third year. Well, I normally advise people, if you know you want to do Canada study permit and you know that you are either self-sponsoring yourself or your sponsor will not have the required amount, considering the fact that exchange rate now is not helping matters, you can start by getting a 1-year program, or you get into schools like in regions like Quebec, whereby you can still see schools for less than $10,000. In fact, like $6,500. That's a story for another day. Now, these are the ways you can prove your funds. The very first way is the GIC, the Guaranteed Investment Certificate. Earlier this year, or late last year, IROCC announced an increase from 10,000 Canadian dollars to about 21,000 Canadian dollars. Now, this increment, it's now the minimum requirement that you need to show. And I think subsequently, for every family member, there is additional family member, there is an amount you need to show that you can actually support yourself. Now, what is a GIC? A Guaranteed Investment Certificate, it's issued by Canadian financial institutions, mainly Canadian banks. You have GIC with ROBC, you have GIC with CIBC, that is the most commonly used by students. You have GIC by TD Bank. So you open an account with these banks, you transfer your investment to them, and when you get to Canada, they will divide your money into equal parts and they'll start paying you per month. So that is, let's say, the 21,000 Canadian dollars, which is approximately 21,000 Canadian dollars that you need for 1 year. You open a GIC account with, let's say, CIBC, and from your home country, either from your account or your sponsor's account, they do not accept third-party payments. You transfer the money to that account that has been opened in your name. It's not a regular account, it's an investment account. So when you get to Canada, they will give you some money from inside as upfront to enable you settle down. Then the remainder of the money plus your interest, they'll be giving you in regular interval on a monthly basis. You cannot just come to Canada and pull out the fund. They won't give you the fund. It's not it's not part of the terms and condition. Now, why do they do this? They do this to ensure that you would always have access to funds for at least the first 1 year of your study. So it's a very good way, an efficient way. However, most persons don't have this money to send in bulk to Canada to do GIC. So you can use other options. But if you have the means and you have the resources to do that, it's fine. It's really a very good way, and it really makes, once you have a verifiable GIC, the chances of refusal is really, really slim. They would most times grant you your visa. Another way you can show proof of fund is through sponsorship. Now, for use this sponsorship route, you need to ensure that the person that is sponsoring you is related to you. You guys are bearing the same name, or if you're not bearing the same name, he or she has to be related to you. You have to prove that relationship. And the best people to sponsor you are fathers, mothers, your parents. They are the best to sponsor you. Then siblings is also acceptable. But you see, saying my uncle, my auntie, my employer, it's not really, most times it's not really advisable. Although there are situations whereby you use these persons, and when you use them, you have to prove relationship, you have to prove the reason why they are sponsoring you, you have to prove that it is actually a genuine sponsorship. You have to prove, there are so many things you need to prove, and so many documentation that involve that. Now, if your parents is sponsoring you, it depends on what your parent is doing, or your sibling. Now, one very important document you should always include is you show your birth certificate. You put your birth certificate, and in your birth certificate, it must be shown that that particular person is your parent. However, if you don't have a birth certificate, you can swear an affidavit. Now, when you swear an affidavit, make sure the name of your parents are captured in this affidavit. Then that is the very first criteria I will tell you, because it is very easy to forget. You must put your birth certificate. Now, why are you putting your birth certificate? To show relationship. Because the fact that we are bearing the same name doesn't show relationship. It doesn't show relationship. But when you put a birth certificate, the visa officer can be able to establish that, okay, based on the birth certificate that you have provided, based on this document, this person that is sponsoring you is your father, is your mother. Then let's say your brother is sponsoring you, or your sister is sponsoring you. You put your birth certificate, you put the person's birth certificate. Along that, you put family pictures. So now, with that, they can check, like, okay, this person that is sponsoring you, the father, you people have the same father, the same mother, or you people have common parents, and that is why the person is sponsoring you. So you must, I repeat again, you must prove relationship why you are using a sponsor. You must prove relationship. Now, let's talk about the documents the sponsor needs to give you. The sponsor needs to give you, if the sponsor is working, he needs to give you his employment letter. He needs to give you all documents that's like shows that he's working, like probably like promotion letter, employment letter, his ID card, it's his confirmation letter, his pay slips. So those are things that he would use to prove that, okay, yes, he's working for this company, and also this is the source of his earnings. Then if he has properties, put these properties, put the landed properties. If he receives rent, put the rent. If you can't get rent receipts, you can when you put his bank statement, you can, in your statement of purpose, highlight the point that on so and so day, this person paid so and so rent. Then you add tenancy agreements. Now, reason why you are doing all these things is that it's like becoming survival of the fittest. in getting a Canadian study permit. So you have to ensure that you do a very strong application to minimize the chances of refusal. Now, it's not all parents that are working. Some are businessmen. So what do? You put evidence of those business. You put the CAC certificates. You put the suppliers document invoices that he used in buying products or services. If there's any memorandum of understanding that he has with his suppliers, you put them. If there's any contracts that he has with his buyer, with his with seller, you put them. Then if there are receipts whereby to show that he received funds, you put them. If the company has assessments, tax assessments, you put this document. If you don't have, no problem, it's fine. Then if not, show all documents to prove that actually this is a genuine business. If possible, if you can get pictures of your father or your mother in the business place, if you can get picture of jobs that they are doing, progress report, you put it and write it and put it in your statement of purpose. You put it to show that yes, this particular business is a viable business. So you do that, and that is how it goes. Then if your parents is retired and the only money they receive is from retirement benefits, you put the retirement benefits, you put the retirement. If you, let's say they received a lump sum from their gratuity and the rest, and they want to use it to sponsor you, you prove that okay, they were formerly working, they retired, and they received gratuity, the letter of disengagement. You put all those things to ensure that okay, this IROCC, they will see that yes, this particular case is a genuine case. All you just want to do is to prove that you have a genuine case. You have your sponsorship, your sponsor has a genuine and legitimate business that he can use in sponsoring you, that you didn't just go borrow money. So that is how you prove if your parent is the one sponsoring you. Now we are going to talk about if you are self-sponsored. If you are self-sponsored, what is the source of your funds? Are you working? Or are you a business person? Or did you just win a lottery? Or your investment has started paying? It would you anything you want to say, you put it and you prove it. The same documents you put if your dad was sponsoring you is the same documents you put if you are the one sponsoring yourself. One very important thing, put pictures. Pictorial evidence is very, very good. Put, if you have transaction receipts, alerts, customers charts that they used in charting you, like supply this, supply that, bring this, bring that, and it is transactional. Arrange them sequentially, arrange them in Microsoft Word, and you label on top, okay, this is the chart when the customer contacted me, this is our workflow, this is how I supply the job, and this is what the product, this is the receipt he used in transferring the money for me, and that is why so and so money was entered into my account. So you prove that. It's very, very important. Finance is one of the major reasons why they reject visa applications. So you have to prove and show all documentation. You have to be, in fact, you have to be very meticulous about this. If you are working, put your pay slip. Get your employer to write you recommendation letter. Put your confirmation letter, put your employment letter, put your ID card. If you have been promoted or if you have been sent on a trip before and you have such letter, put them. Get your colleagues to write you recommendation letter. It's all right. So now another thing we are going to talk about sponsorship. How do you prove lump sum? Now this is where um, documentation. This is part of the documentation you need to show when you are talking about proof of funds. To prove lump sum, because lump sum is itself just putting 2 days to your application, you just lodge 30 million naira, 400 million naira, when the account has been like a desert ever since. Few days to the visa application, you just lodge one big money, then you print it and you say that, okay, yes, this money is in my account, use it and give me visa. If you do such, that is lump sum. You should prove, in fact, you should prove, if you want to put such a huge amount in your account, you should be ready to prove how that fund came. You should convince the visa officer that that fund was not a borrowed fund. That fund's intention was not to deceive the embassy. Now, how do you do that? You use documentation. You can sell a land, you can sell a property. If you sell property, then fine. So if you have sold a property, then you need to show the evidence that you sold this property. Definitely whoever you sold the property to did communicate with you. So show those communication, write those communication, the ways they communicated with you. If it was through email, if it was through WhatsApp, you add it. They paid you with bank transfer. If they sent you the bank transfer, you add the bank transfer. If they gave you if you guys have a title deed whereby you signed the agreement, you now gave him the power of attorney, you release the documents to him, then it's fine. You give it to him. You put it, you include it. Then another thing, if you have liquidated your investment, if you have an investment, then you put an investment certificate to show that you've liquidated your investment. Now, most popular questions I usually get from forums we organize that, can I use proof of investment as a proof of fund? I will always tell you, see proof of investment as a way to prove lump sum, because you don't just go and get a document showing that you have so and so investment in so and so unknown financial agency, and you expect them to just use that document and give you visa. No, it doesn't always work that way. If you have an investment and you liquidated it, you can get the investment certificate to show that, okay, you've been saving this money for long, and that is why you liquidated it. So you can put your proof of investment certificate. You can write, your investment house can write to the embassy stating that this is when you had this money, and this is how you have been saving for this money, and this is how much the money is worth. This is the percentage, or this is the interest that it has accrued. So based on that, you cannot use that to do what they call it, your proof of funds. You cannot use that to prove your lump sum. If you don't do it that way, and you just put proof of investment, like I have 100 million, I have 500 million as an investment, I'm sorry, the outcome might not be what you like. Then if you are using proof of investment, an investment from a recognized financial institution like a commercial bank, or you are using a fixed deposit, that one is even more and more credible. You understand? However, if you can get them to give you a statement of account, if you can get them to write, apart from the letter, to write that, okay, this money is with us, and this is the maturity date, get all necessary documentation. And as I will always say, whatever means you are doing, make sure you have at least some money. Even if some money some money in to show, because you might have an investment of 100 million now that will pay your school fees, and the maturity date has not reached. You need to show money that you can buy your tickets. You need to show money that, okay, when you get to Canada, you can at least rent a house. So based on that, you need to also put an additional bank statement showing that you have liquid cash. All right, thank you very much. I'll see you in the next